the layoffs are going to be astronomical at those. I mean, that's 200. I mean, say it, 200,000 units as you just watch them sit there and rot.
All right, so we got more Jeep, Dodge, Ram problems. They can't do anything right, and because they can't do anything right, they are going to have to start production. And I think it's way too late. They should have started. They should have made this announcement. What, 6, 8, 12 months ago, Ray? They gotta cut cars, and they're doing it now. That means more people are going to lose their jobs. That means that dealers are already whining, but now there's going to be more shareholders that are upset because demand is not there for these products, and now we're seeing it.
It took probably a good 15 to 18 months for the top executives at Stellantis to wake up and look at the statistics and listen to their dealers who have been screaming for all that time about, we need help selling the cars we have. We don't need any more cars that you're building. Please stop building some of them, or please help us move what we have so we can take what you're building. And, for the longest period of time, the top executives at Stellantis said, no, you as a dealer body, figure out how to get rid of these cars. And, the sad reality is it's the manufacturer's job to understand what the market is and to build what it is that the market's looking for. And some manufacturers, such as Stellantis, said, nah, we're going to build what we want to build, and we're going to convince people that that's what they wanted. And so, yeah, they've gone ahead and they've built what they wanted to build. They have yet to figure out how to convince people to buy what it is that they built. And that's their dilemma. And apparently they're finally admitting the error of their ways, and they're going to do something about it.
So there's a Jeep, Dodge, Ram dealership I like to go to. It's easy to film there. The salespeople know me, and they let me just go about my business or whatever. But they have 20. They have 20 between Wagoneers and Grand Wagoneers. They have 20 on their lot. The average price is going to be somewhere around $90,000. They have $1.8 million of these. What are they? Boat anchors now at this point?
Yes.
Sitting on their lot. I can't even comprehend how much interest they're paying a month to have all of these Wagoneers and Grand Wagoneers sitting on their lot. And it seems like every time I go, so I've been keeping track of this. I go to this dealership a lot. Mm-hmm. Like a year ago, they had like 6 to 8. 6 months ago, they had 10 to 12. And now they have 20 of them. And that's just the ones that I can see. They have more vehicles parked behind the building too. I would assume they have at least one Wagoneer sitting back there somewhere. But $1.8 million just sitting there, and there's no way they're going to be able to sell those before these interest payments just get absolutely just ridiculous on these things.
Well, more than likely they've been sitting on these for quite some time. My suggestion would be, or my guess would be, that the very nicest one, the most expensive one that they have is probably the dealership's owner's wife's demonstrator. Well, because he's got to treat her right. She's going to drive the nice stuff, and maybe somebody will get a real deal when it has 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it. I don't know, but yeah, to have 20 cars there and know that you have probably a 2-year supply, if not more, and knowing that you have to pay interest on that as you just watch them sit there and rot. That's hard to take for a dealer. And to know that your manufacturer hasn't really done anything to help move the product and alleviate some of these oversupply issues. I'm beginning to sense why Stellantis said, "Hey, we're gonna cut down production by 200,000 units." And when you look downstream from that, well, that impacts auto workers. Okay, so the problem becomes that when you finally admit the error of your ways, now you're forcing the people who build these cars out of work. They're going to get the layoffs are going to be astronomical at those. I mean, that's 200. I mean, say it, 200,000 units. That's a lot of damn units, and they want to keep their on-hand inventory at what, 320,000 units, something
Yeah,
like that.
330. Yeah.
Yeah, so where is it sitting today, that the on-hand inventory, that they feel that they have to cut out 200,000, and how long is it going to take to actually get to that 320,000 on-hand inventory level that they'd like to be at? And how much cash on the hood is it going to take to convince customers to buy that stuff so that you can actually be selling down some of that inventory?
So talking about selling it, so here's what the company is planning. So we talked about it a second ago. They're going to make 200,000 fewer vehicles in the second half. That's a crazy amount. But they're going to, and it's a double than what they previously planned to cut their production to, and they're increasing incentive spending. I think this is exactly what you're just talking about. They have to increase their incentive spending, or their dealers are just going to be. I mean, they're going to be holding the bag. So this dealership that I went to, I talked to a salesperson. He was in commercial, and he said there'll be days that the retail side, they don't sell one vehicle. It's really that store. What's been keeping them afloat has been their commercial division.
Wow.
So I asked him, I said, well, what are they doing over there to try to help move the metal? He said, well, they're selling everything at invoice. And then you have your incentives on top coming from Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. So, I mean, they're trying to do stuff to get people into vehicles, but it's not enough. It's too little, too late. There's not enough money out there. And that's one thing that he really honed in on when I talked to him. He said, people just, they don't have money. And I don't know that it's everyone that doesn't have any money. I know there's less money out there, but the people who do have money, they're not buying Jeep, Dodge, Ram product right now.
Well, when you think about Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, those were always brands that attracted a less affluent clientele traditionally, and it was traditionally a more price conscious clientele, and that's who the vehicles were built for, and that was their customer base. And since Stellantis has taken over these products, they have decided to go more upscale. Their MSRP increases over the last 5 years have been in excess of 50%. On the Jeep side of things, Jeep MSRPs have gone up 61%. While MSRPs have gone up, sales have gone down. So everything has been moving in the absolute opposite direction that you would want for a brand. And one of the main reasons is because those who are in charge at the ultimate level forgot who their customers were and decided to no longer cater to who their customers were, hoping to find a different customer. And the different customers that they were looking for, those brands lacked the cachet that it would take to get those type of buyers. You weren't sending if you drove home with one of those and put it in your driveway, it wasn't making the same statement as if you drove home in a Ford Expedition or in a Yukon Denali. The Jeep brand or the Ram just didn't have the same cachet.
So we have a question right here. Let's pull it up. So what is their end game? People can't afford them. So what are they going to do with all of these vehicles?
Well,
you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
Yeah. So eventually, all these vehicles have to be sold. I know that I've shown recently some 2022 Ram 1500s that were still brand new, sitting on a dealer lot. And what that dealer was doing was basically giving these things away. They were taking major losses. They took
Yeah.
$18,000 off of this car. Eventually, these cars will sell, but these dealers are going to hold on as long as possible before they have to really cut them loose. And there's two options. You discount them as much as you can to entice a customer to buy them, or you take them to auction and take whatever they bring, and you let the next dealer just try to do the same thing that you were trying to do. Those are the really only two scenarios to get these vehicles to move. Now, you can put them in service loaner fleet, but the dealership still owns them, so they still have to sell them at some point. Am I missing something, or is that what we have to do right here?
Either way, either one of those options, either discounting the hell out of them to move them to a retail customer, or taking them to the auctions and taking whatever loss you take to sell it to another dealer there. Either way, you are losing money. Okay. Either one of those options. For long-term growth, they're not viable. For short-term cash flow purposes, they're essential. And you and I have said it before. Your first loss is your best loss. Now, if I were a dealer and if it were me, rather than take that damn thing to the auction and sell it there and have to pay all the fees, I would instruct my managers to take whatever deal they have to take to get a customer to say yes, and allow my finance department an opportunity to sell some product and to mitigate the loss that we might have taken on the front end. And by doing it that way, I have created a potential customer for my service department moving forward, especially if there's any recalls or anything, they're going to have to be done at the dealership. So it seems to me it makes more sense to take whatever you can get and sell it to a retail customer and hopefully keep them within the confines of the store moving forward than it does to take them to the auction and take whatever loss you take there. Both ways, you're creating cash flow, but the first way, selling to a retail customer, is that you are creating ancillary opportunities for the dealership to ultimately mitigate some of the loss that you took up front.
But where's the line on that? So you talk about from Stellantis' standpoint, they're collapsing within themselves. There might be just an implosion that they're dealing with. So, but where's the line? You were in a franchise store when you were having trouble selling vehicles, and you went to your sales staff and said, don't let these people leave. Whatever offer they give us, we're going to try to make work. These Stellantis dealers, they're not going to take 50% off of a vehicle. Where was your line whenever a customer would come in and have something ridiculous? Like where would you be at?
Listen, if you got an offer, as ridiculous as it might be, at least it's an offer. And you have to realize as a salesperson and as a sales manager, the customer's job is to buy the car as inexpensively as they possibly can. And to start that dance, they very well might make an unreasonable offer. The dealership's job is to make as much money or lose as little money as they possibly can. And so, the dealership's first pass is always making a lot of profit. And even if a customer offers 50%, it's a place to start the dance. Okay, because that's really all they're doing. Is they're saying, "Come on, let's go back and forth. Let's do a little dance. Let's see how close we can get to something that works." And so the customer might offer 50% off. And so you sell it to me for 50% off, I'll buy it. The dealership might say, "Okay, well, we'll give you 10% off." Who knows? Maybe you close somewhere around 20% off or 25 or 30% off. But whatever it is, and so if you said to me, Well, what's the max I can't tell you what the max is I'd lose. Okay. I worked for a vice president of the Penske organization and said, if your customer hasn't said yes yet, you haven't lowered the price enough yet. You just keep lowering the price till they say yes. And sometimes you're losing money to do that, but you need to turn those boat anchors into cash so you can sustain your business and buy something else that you can make a profit on. So, have I lost $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 on the sale of an automobile? I have. Have I tried to do that on every car that we sell? No, I can't afford to do that but luckily we were talented enough or stupid enough or persuasive enough to get the customers to spend a little more than what they wanted to do. And so we could either mitigate the loss or have a small profit. But you have to look at the big picture. And the big picture is you give them an opportunity to go into F&I where you can make money back there. It might be $2,000, $2,500. They become a service customer. There's statistics that say every new car customer is worth about $300,000 to a dealership over time. Yeah. You think to yourself, how could that be? Well, the $300,000 might be, they buy 6 more cars over their lifetime. So a new car customer is worth a lot. Now, you might lose money initially, but ultimately you'll end up making money off them through parts, service, F&I, and continued sales.
So let's give somebody out here watching this some advice. So if you were to be a consumer that would want a Jeep Grand Cherokee, I don't want to say Grand Wagoneer, a Jeep Grand Cherokee right now, that's the vehicle you want, and you go to a Stellantis dealership, and just about anyone you go to, they're going to be stacked like crazy everywhere. What would be your approach when you go in to negotiate? Where would you start the negotiation out if you wanted one of these vehicles?
If it were me, the first thing I would do is I would say to the salesperson, do me a favor. I'm interested in X, whatever X may be. Would you please go to your new car manager and ask him, what's the oldest one of X that you have on the lot? And the reason I want you to ask him that is let him know that if we can get to the right price, I will take the oldest vehicle you have on the lot in X. I will take that off your hands. Okay. And the salesperson is going to look at you like, you're an alien, but you're sending a signal to the sales manager that A, you're serious about buying a car, B, you understand the process of aged inventory, and it gives you something to discuss. So first, find out what the oldest vehicle is and how long it's been there in the make and model that you want. And then, I don't know, I might start at 15% off or 20% off, plus any factory incentives that are available to a customer on top of that. Start there, but always ask for the oldest, because trust me, on the oldest one, they should be the most motivated to move it.
So in that example, let's use some real numbers. So if it's a $50,000 MSRP, you're going in there at 40 grand, and you're saying plus incentives on that, and obviously no nitrogen.
Or you can include the nitrogen at no cost to me. I mean, it's like, I can do you the favor. I can get this car off your books. I can get this car off your floor plan interest so that your expense is going to go down. You're finally going to move this aged unit that the owner wants you to move. You should be highly motivated to move it. Now, if the sales manager or the new car manager says, no, I'm not motivated, well, then go find the sales manager or new car manager at a store who would be. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there aren't some morons that are running dealerships, because there are. Okay. And there are managers who will let real buyers walk. Sometimes it just becomes like a competition to the manager, and they don't want to lose that competition. They want to show they're stronger than the customer. Meanwhile, they cost the dealership a sale. So you need to find the new car manager or sales manager who understands inventory management, the importance of turning your inventory in a timely fashion, and try and have the conversations directly with that manager as opposed to with the salesperson. And suggest to the man, pay the salesperson whatever the hell you're going to pay him. I don't care. But let's you and I sit down and just cut to the chase, damn it. There's a car deal here for you. It's your job, Mr. Manager, not to screw that up. So please don't.
Yes. All right. That's good. I think that's enough railing on Stellantis until 2 topics from now.
Till next time.
Until 20 minutes from now.